Greetings, geeks and nerds. I'm Lazy Universe and I'm white and nerdy. And it's time that we talk about a very underrated Christmas Carol classic in the realm of cartoons. This is the only one that's being as a cartoon classic alongside of some others. Because this one is a little bit obscure, but still a cult classic in the realm of everybody else. I am, of course, talking about the one, the only, the great Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Mr. Magoo, during the 60s, 70s, and a little bit of the 80s, was a big superstar. Voiced by the incredible Jim Backus, Mr. Magoo would go on various adventures. But I remember seeing Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol and being blown away by how damn decent that it was, animation-wise, voice acting-wise, and everything else-wise. Back when I was in high school, I do remember being we had to split up into various teams and talk about a Charles Dickens novels, and my team really wanted to talk about Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one. We got Oliver Twist. But it goes without saying that Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol is one of the most influential possible pieces of media out there. You have seen an adaptation at least somewhere in the world. It's even hard to believe that Roseanne, the TV series, had a Christmas Carol parody, but instead of being about Christmas, it was around Halloween. So it goes without saying that Charles Dickens' novel was very brilliant. The novel is about a man named Ebenezer Scrooge who hates Christmas, the whole Christmas season and everything with it. He puts greed into his heart. His heart is weighed down by gold, and it's easy to say that if he doesn't change, his world will soon be changed, and he will die from the greed that he has caused. He shackled chains that he has forged in life because of his greed, and unfortunately, the shackles of those chains stretch very far. I really, really love every adaptation of A Christmas Carol. My favorite one, at least, has to be the Muppet Christmas Carol, followed by the Alistair Sim version. I know, I really need to review Muppet Christmas Carol on this channel at some point because you guys love the Muppets, I love the Muppets, it's without question. We even have to talk about Mickey's Christmas Carol at some point. You know, the original one with Scrooge McDuck being Ebenezer Scrooge. Get it? But I think it goes without saying that it is just one of the most influential pieces of media out there. So, with that all said and done, how is Ebenezer or Mr. Magoo going to tackle this holiday season? Well, I will be at first to tell you that this is basically different than a lot of the adaptation that you've seen. In case you're wondering that this is going to be Mr. Magoo going up against the Ghost of Christmas Past, Christmas Present, and the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, that's technically true, but I'll have to explain exactly what it is when we get into it. So, can Mr. Magoo be saved this Christmas Day, or will he fall into the shackles of his greed? Let's find out. Let's go back in time and join the great Jim Backus. This is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. So we open up to, I would assume, New York City, as Mr. Magoo is ready to go on Broadway. He's ready to take over Broadway by storm. Why? Because his play is very popular. Yes, that's right. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol is in fact a stage play that Mr. Magoo had made, and it had made him a very big Broadway star or Broadway sensation. And we get to see the great Mr. Magoo, voiced by Jim Backus, who's on his way to Broadway and on his way to stardom with his biggest hit, and singing his song around the world. But of course, since Mr. Magoo's eyes aren't what they used to be, he accidentally runs into a restaurant, which of course the owners of the restaurant afterwards scored him right next door to his place. And so, with the miracle of Mr. Magoo getting there on time, the stage finally opens and the play begins with a group of Christmas carolers singing outside of a person's door. Which we then come over to Scrooge and Marley, where we find Scrooge, played by Mr. Magoo, counting his money and holding his gold. As similar to every other version, he's counting his money and is happy that his partner is dead because he no longer has to share the profit. That is until he's met by Mr. Jeffers and Mr. Sands.
usually desirable, we should make some slight provisions for the poor and destitute. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comfort. After loan, I support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are badly off, he might go there. Many can't rather die. They had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Now I'm very busy, gentlemen. I bid you good afternoon.
I love how they use that line too, which is one of my favorite lines from every incarnation, where he gets visited by Mr. Jeffers and Mr. Sands, and they want him to donate to the poorhouses, and so he tells them off, and he also tells them that if they had better do it, either go to the workhouses or the poorhouses, then they better do it quickly to decrease the surplus population. And this is a children's cartoon, mind you. That went into a very dark place within like the first 5 minutes of them doing that famous quote. It is so dark and so sinister, but I love the way that Jim Backus handled it. And I'm going to talk about how Jim Backus handled Ebenezer Scrooge later. I just wanted to point that out that this is yet a very loose adaptation. You will see me coming in here and pointing out some differences that they used, and primarily the arrival of the ghost. They do it very differently. It's a minor difference, but it is kind of like, really? That's the way we're going to go with this? No? So, sure. Why not? But I do have to say that even though we're just so far into this, I love the way that Jim Backus handled that line. He handled it like a pro, and it sounded like that he was truly trying to summon his inner Ebenezer Scrooge. Maybe he was a fan of the Alistair Smith Sims version of this story. So it really feels like that he really was trying to summon up his inner Ebenezer Scrooge, and I think that he did quite well with it. Whether or not Mickey's Christmas Carol around the time existed or not, I don't know, because he could have gotten some vocal lessons from the legendary Alan Young. But it just goes without saying that so far Jim Backus is doing quite an amazing performance. Even when I first watched it, I thought, yeah, Jim Backus is doing a legendary performance. But again, more on that later on in this video. So let's go back into the adaptation and the cartoon in general that you people have came for. Speaking of, poor Bob Cratchit. This man is sitting trying to be warmed by a candle in an office that is almost encased in snow. So after a song about counting money and being so cold, he tells Cratchit to lock up the lockbox and put it in the safe where nobody can touch it during the holidays are happening. And even Mr. Scrooge here tells off a group of Christmas carolers, and including a young one who thought that he had a bucket on his head for no reason other than to be there.
Don't you understand the King's English?
Now there's a look on a child's face that says, no, I don't understand the King's English. I don't even understand English in its entirety. Or as Cartman would probably say, screw these Christmas carols. I'm going to take my stuff and go home. As per every adaptation, and also the book, Cratchit asks Mr. Scrooge for the whole day off. And Mr. Scrooge politely said that he can have the whole day, but he better come back for the next day for the whole day. But strange forces are in the air that night for Mr. Scrooge. As he arrives home, he unlocks the door, but a familiar face echoes in his knocker. Though Ebenezer, being Ebenezer, and also Mr. Magoo being Mr. Magoo, he writes it off as nothing as he sees a face in the flame, wondering what is going on. As he is soon visited by his friend and former partner, Jacob Marley. Marley comes with a warning to try and save Ebenezer's soul as per every adaptation. Marley tells him that his chains were forged by the great greed that he carries in his heart, and Ebenezer will follow down the same path unless he be saved by tonight. As Marley tells him about the ghost, and he tells him that his spirit shall be saved if you listen to the spirits, otherwise you will join the ranks of the living dead who boiled shins. Now, if you're expecting the ghost of Christmas past to already arrive, you'd be wrong. This adaptation goes differently by having the ghost of Christmas present be the first ghost. it's not going to be the biggest complaint that I'm going to hang over this special's head, but it does bear saying that this is kind of a weird decision. It should go past, present, and then future, not present, past, and then future. It seems really weird how it goes like that, because yes, that's the way that it goes. They go to Christmas present first, they go to Christmas past is second, and they go to Christmas yet to come is third. And it seems really weird that it would go that route, especially with this Christmas Carol story, but it does still follow most of the story and adaptation. I say most because there is actually two very important characters that this Christmas Carol adaptation doesn't use, and it confuses me why they skipped over them. More on that in a bit, though, but I do like the way that they make the Go to Christmas present look. Usually, in every adaptation, he's a tall man who had red hair, a red beard, and carries around a torch. And also, in some adaptations, he does also look like Santa Claus. So I kind of like how they made him almost look like Father Christmas or Santa Claus in general, because his robe here is, while yes, loosely like a pinkish color, it does look very reddish. So it's kind of nice that they made him almost look like Father Christmas, and as you'd expect, the Go to Christmas present takes Scrooge around to help him learn his valuable lesson. So the ghost takes him to the house of Bob Cratchit. Yep, he takes him straight to the home of Bob Cratchit, which skips over a main character from most adaptations, more in a bit. As Bob Cratchit returns home with his lovely son Tiny Tim, yes, because Tiny Tim has to be in every version, as he tells his family that while they may be poor, they're rich in love. But unfortunately, like in every version, Tiny Tim is dying. He's very sick, very close to his deathbed, as the family sings a song about what they want for Christmas.
With razzleberry dressing, we've been so awful good, from me down to the baby. Razzleberry gravy.
Yeah. Tiny Tim in this version is very addicted to something called razzleberry. I don't know what it is. I question why it exists. I don't know if this is a thing around Christmas. I don't know if this is like Christmas pudding. I don't know what this is. It's just like a European or British thing that I just don't know what it is. Was it just made for this special? I don't know. But all I can think about is like Tiny Tim going through a very, very heavy withdrawal from his raspberry gravy. So he's not dying from sickness. He's dying from a raspberry, or from a raspberry withdrawal. Good God, did he inject the raspberries using Elmer from Brain Damage? Anybody? Frank Kettlemacher, weird movie called Brain Damage. No, ring a bell. Brandon Tenold recently reviewed it. You can go and watch the Horror Guru talk about it now. No. Not ringing a bell to anybody. God, I'm weird. But anyways, yeah, I can just imagine mostly like Tiny Tim going through something like this.
Father, where's the raspberry gravy and dressing, Father? Why don't I have it yet, Father? I need the raspberry fix, man. You don't understand. I gotta have it. I need it. I'm going fucking apeshit crazy. I even stole the Santa hat for no reason. I gotta have my fix. I gotta have my fix.
As per every adaptation, there is an empty shell with a crust that sits next beside it because Tiny Tim is just going to die as Ebenezer's own subconsciousness mocks him. As Ebenezer is soon visited by another adaptation, he's visited by the ghost of Christmas past. Not long past, just Scrooge's own past. So say, haven't you noticed something yet? A very important character missing from this adaptation? Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yes, indeedy. This adaptation skipped over Ebenezer's nephew, Fred. Yep, Fred is nowhere involved in this special. While Ebenezer loves Fred, Fred is supposed to be the polar opposite of Ebenezer Scrooge, someone to balance and contrast his own uncle who hates Christmas while Fred enjoys and loves the holiday season. It is pretty powerful that this special skipped over Fred, one of the most monumental pieces that is in every adaptation, but not in this one. Maybe it was to save time because the animation is expensive. Maybe that's the reason why they skipped over a main character. But still, I think this special should have had Fred and included him because he's such a powerful character throughout the majority of the story. Anyways, the spirit of Christmas past takes Ebenezer back to his past, back where he grew up as a boy and went to school as he married along the entire way there. So when Ebenezer gets to the schoolhouse, he notices that one person is all alone. A young Ebenezer Scrooge, as they don't even talk about his abusive father, but someone is Easter egg.
You don't know how it feels when you talk and nobody's voice talks back.
Yes, that's right. That was an Easter egg and reference to Ebenezer's sister, Fan. She isn't in this special. Fan is also Ebenezer's kind of like supporting character. She's his anchor. He cares and loves for his sister so much. She used to keep him at home while his abusive father would usually yell at him and berate him and usually throw him underneath the bus or a carriage if he ever so had the chance. Fan was Ebenezer's heart and soul, and when she died due to giving birth to Fred, Ebenezer blames Fred for the loss of his sister instead of accepting Fred's kindness and his love into his heart. Fan isn't involved in this special, but it would have made sense if she was. Or even if not, even that little Easter egg does make sense as long as we had Fred who was also in this special. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. They included Belle, Ebenezer's fiance, who happened to also be like his sister, teach him love and kindness and respect toward others, but without the main anchor of either Fred or Fan being in this, then it just doesn't make sense to have that little Easter egg without either supporting characters being in this special. But I get it, animation is expensive, animation is kind of roughy, and sometimes animation projects have to be rushed to meet time standards. I get that. And also, this cartoon is probably like, what, 60 years old by this point, so I'm bitching about nothing. But it still would have been nice to have the character involved in it anyways. But as I said, yep, this adaptation did involve Ebenezer's fiance, Belle. And similar to every other adaptation, Ebenezer chooses money over true love. He chooses money over the love of a woman, and money can't love you back. As he goes to Christmas past vanishes away, he is soon met by the ghost of Christmas yet to come, who is going to teach him everything that will happen if he continues down his path. Yeah, it's the same usual adaptation. He goes to the bank, everyone at the bank talking about his death. He goes to see the old junk shop where he notices that everybody is selling stuff that used to belong to him. As he soon goes to the home of Tiny Tim and learns that, yeah, Tim has unfortunately passed away due to illness, and he is no longer with the Cratchit family. The ghost of Christmas yet to come leaves Ebenezer by his own grave, sad, alone, and crying, wondering if this is going to be his future to come after tonight. However, it turns out that that is not what happened. He had a glimpse of what would happen as he promised to cherish Christmas all throughout his heart as he enjoys a bright and brand new day. He even runs into Mr. Sands and Mr. Jeffers again, and instead of being cruel with his money, he actually offers them a chance to give people a brand new life and help the home and the poorless. As he brings gold and toys and everything else to the wonderful home of the Cratchit family, something that they long deserved, and he also promises to help Bob with Tiny Tim and his illness.
And don't get a jar.
A razzleberry dressing.
I pushed my soul in a deep dark hole and then I followed it in. Saw so much, I broke my mind. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
That hit the spot, Mr. Scrooge. I can finally stop seeing the nightmares and I'm finally more calm now. Thank you, Mr. Scrooge. Raspberry dressing.
And it was a stellar knockout performance. Everyone in the entire world absolutely loved it, as Ebenezer, well, Mr. Magoo, being Mr. Magoo, is facing backwards. But that's not all that Mr. Magoo will be doing this night, as he goes and grabs the director of the film to everybody to thank the director of the great performance that has happened.
Oh
Oh yeah, no, without question, that motherfucker is dead. He's not knocked out, he's fucking dead. There is no coming up from that. Who knows how much them props have weighed. So, that is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. A great adaptation. And certainly that Jim Backus, I believe, even though he was voicing Mr. Magoo, even if he was channeling his inner Ebenezer Scrooge, he did a fantastic job, and in fact, I really did like his performance. His performance as Ebenezer Scrooge was great. He was phenomenal, and especially just in a voice acting role, even though it was Mr. Magoo more than Ebenezer, he still did a wonderful job, and he handled it like a pro. So, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, you should go and watch if you can find it somewhere. Yeah, you might be like, but this existed like during the 60s or 70s, or whenever it was created. Yeah, but the thing is that animation never dies, man. Look at us, we're still watching stop motion animation classics after all these years. Speaking of stop motion animation, come back next time as we're going to take a look at an adaptation that you probably haven't seen, or maybe if you have, you might not remember it. You know how this year we had two Pinocchio movies come in, with the Guillermo del Toro version doing a lot better than the Disney live action version? Yeah, come back next time as I'm going to be talking about Pinocchio and Christmas, because next time we'll be talking about A Pinocchio Christmas.